Hey everybody, DJ Paulie here once again for the Internet Wedding Channel. And today we're going to be talking about photography. I said, what the heck? Let's get to the top of the food chain, if you so. I have with me Carrie Draghi.
Draghi, yes.
How you doing, Carrie?
I'm well, how are you?
And of course you have this beautiful studio here, Carrie Draghi Photography in Glastonbury, Connecticut.
Yep.
And thank you for letting us in and take a look around and telling us some of the stories.
Well, it's an honor to have you here, DJ Paulie. I've heard quite a bit about you yourself, too.
Oh, don't believe it, don't believe
That's
it.
true.
Hey, Carrie, I want to talk to you. First of all, let's get to know you and
Okay.
stuff. Of course, I know a lot of our veterans, the banquet halls and the DJs and the floors. Everybody knows about you. But how about the future brides out there? Let's tell them a little bit about yourself, when you've been in business and stuff.
Well, my name is Carrie Draghi, technically Carrie Patterson, but professionally I'm Carrie Draghi. I have been shooting weddings. My first wedding I photographed was on film in 1996, so that makes me, I'm not going to say old, I'll say experienced. So, but I was doing that for fun, for family and friends. Did take courses in photography and trained in photography, but didn't think that I was going to do it full time, and then went and worked in the corporate world, and ultimately I decided this is what I wanted to do. So I freelanced for 3 years with another well-known photographer, and then I made the full-time commitment, and about 13 years ago, back in 2004, I opened up my own photography studio. We're a full-service photography studio, and we've been doing weddings and portraits and bat and bar mitzvahs and corporate headshots and everything else in between, but I love weddings.
Hey, Carrie, you said something very, very important that I do want to stress to our viewers out there. You said full-time. This is what you do full-time. This
is
isn't
how I
a
make
hobby.
my living. No, this is not a
it.
hobby.
So if you don't do a good job and really do something for the clients, then they're not going to refer you and you're not going to be eaten.
It's interesting that you noticed that I said that. The Professional Photographers of America, they are sort of our governing institution for professional photographers, if we have one. And years ago, when I first entered the industry, the average lifespan of a wedding photographer was about 20 to 25 years. And within the last year or so, I remember reading that it's about 5 now.
Wow.
So
after 5 years, and that's it, they're out of the business.
Well, I think what's happened is, you know, the digital camera came out, and try to emphasize this with couples that, just because I have a paintbrush doesn't make me an artist.
True.
And just because I have a pair of scissors doesn't make me a surgeon. And just because I have a camera doesn't necessarily make me a professional photographer.
And I know, just on my side too, we were talking a little bit before, how you have the banquet halls, so the facilities, and the management comes up to us and says, "Oh, good, thank goodness you're here."
Thank goodness
you're
it's
here.
you. Yeah.
Because sometimes, say the DJ part, they have a cell phone and they're trying to DJ from a cell phone, going on YouTube or wherever they are, and you can't do that, for crying out loud. Same thing, you can't expect the people taking pictures with a cell phone. You're going to have the same kind of quality as these beautiful pictures?
No.
I don't think so. Of course not.
No.
So there is a difference. What I want to do for our future brides out there is to talk the difference of what they should be looking for. Okay, on that here. And I have some examples here. You could maybe show us. Can we go?
I can. That's sort of more printing, which is sort of an after the fact part of photography, but I'll be glad to show that.
Sure, thank you.
Let me step into that in just a sec, but let's talk about your question again was more like what they should be looking for.
Well, let's go that before we see the different examples. I think that's a good point. Say a bride is going to be getting married next year or something like that. Now, what kind of questions should they be asking you when they call up? They want to set up an appointment. Nowadays with these millennials, all they want to do is text. Did they ever try and get you to hire you without even seeing it, which is crazy?
In my opinion, of all of the vendors, and no offense to you very talented DJs out there, but of all the vendors that the couple should meet, it's the photographer.
I agree.
We are with the couple. We're with you all day.
Yeah.
We are spending more time with you than any other person. You'll see us more than the person that you're marrying that day. And so we are intimately involved with all of the special moments. And so we really want to, I tell our couples, I want to feel like I can fit in with your friends and family as if I were a friend with a camera, only I happen to have 300 plus weddings of experience under my belt to be able to bring a very different experience and different images to you after the fact. But But of all the people that I think couples should meet, it's the photographer, because we really are a big part of the experience of the day, and people don't realize that
You gotta
until
have the
afterwards.
chemistry.
You
If
do.
you don't get along, you're not the same personality, how do you get to be?
Well,
you know,
the
being able to
photographer is the
fit
long-term
together?
relationship. Like
Yeah.
you're a one-night stand.
Right, that's true.
You know,
5
if they-
hours and that's it.
and then you're done,
Yeah, that's
right?
it.
And so a
Yeah.
wedding for us is about 40 hours worth of work.
Mm.
And so
Wow.
from the time if you
Yeah.
do it right in what
Mhm.
our opinion is of right, and the way that we capture it, the way that we edit it and color correct it, etc.
There's a lot of work
Renaming,
involved.
backing up, having offshore storage, all those things take time to process through. It's about 40 hours.
Wow.
Then we're doing album design. We're
Mhm.
doing, we meet couples later when they have kids. It's one of the best things of my job too, being that I
yeah.
also do portraits. Is I meet couples at the next stages of their life too, and I get to watch them become parents, and they.
You're growing with them.
Yeah, we
that's
do.
it. You see their family, and then you mentioned before you do the portraits, so
Yep.
I'm sure they call you for the baby pictures
Oh, yeah.
or the family reunions or what have you.
Yeah, it's a really.
So it isn't like a
um,
one-night stand like myself
yeah,
or
no,
something.
we're-
Sometimes I'll do the daughter's wedding and then the sister's wedding. Or
Well, we have friend groups.
Really?
Sometimes we'll have a friend group where I have some pictures where I had photographed. It's me with the bridal party, and I photographed every couple in the bridal party, except for one, and she was very sad because she didn't know about me beforehand and was disappointed
Oh.
that she didn't have the same experience in taking
Yeah.
pictures. But
yeah.
but yeah, so we end up sort of enmeshed in circles of friends and
Yeah.
siblings, and which I always feel is a really wonderful compliment. But again, that's because we're very careful about making sure that we're really there is chemistry with the couples that we hire. We do fit in with their families. We do.
Lot to it.
Yeah, and when I work with people, I'm not militaristic. I'm not. I've been doing it for long enough that I'm comfortable with my gear, and I'm comfortable. I'm not busy going through the shot list in my head because I'm well
Mhm.
prepared, and
Right.
so I'm
That
not. I
helps.
don't bring like a neurotic energy, which a lot of younger photographers, they're very nervous,
Yeah.
and we're not like that when we're on the day of the wedding. We're trying to really add to the experience and protect the. I always tell people I'm there to protect the party. I'm there to make sure you get there on time. I'm there to make
Mhm.
sure that your nerves are, that
Yeah.
we've planned it out well enough that we're not stressing, we're not running behind, we're not. And people tell me I should write a book of all the things I've said. I would change names, of course, but there's really not much I haven't seen
Yeah.
in 300 plus weddings, and
Wow.
everybody on our team really does have the same level of experience. We do a 2 photographer team, and it's
Mhm.
not just 2 people. We're not a husband and wife. My husband takes great pictures,
Yeah.
but he should not be my partner at a wedding. He's not.
Right.
I need
Strictly
somebody.
business. You
Yep.
want it done correctly.
And not that there aren't couples where that works well, but my
Yeah.
point being, I've had to separate sometimes and go different directions, and I don't need to worry that the pictures that my partner's taking aren't going to be the
Right.
same caliber. So we're very particular about who we shoot with,
Yeah.
how we light, and being able to bring the confidence of the team
Mhm.
that we have allows us to really kind of have fun on the day of the wedding.
Well, the reason why you've been in business for long is all about credibility. I mean, if you weren't so fussy, if you were not so particular, then you wouldn't have been in business this long.
No, I
you
don't
know?
think so.
No, I truly do. And I was commenting on the various, even the paper that you use and stuff.
Oh,
You were saying, I said, wow, it's almost like a HD, TV.
Well, it's
It
not.
just-
It's just what
I know,
professional,
but
professional
it's-
printing looks like.
It
and
just
people,
pops out at you.
Yeah,
So
people
you're not
don't know
trying
that.
to cheap.
yeah.
The pictures and
Yeah.
discount it and make it look, stuff. Now let's talk about budgets, okay?
Okay.
Now, when people call you, do you try to get what their budget is?
Yes and no.
You just tell them your packages.
Yeah,
and
we
stuff.
want to give people a general, like a price range.
Yeah.
We've put a lot of thought into how we price ourselves.
Okay.
Because I know it's 40 hours worth of work, and because I know I can only shoot so many weddings a year and still
Right.
deliver the same type of
Yeah.
service, we cap out. And so I don't want to take a wedding that's half the price of, I don't want to take a day that might be something we can, as much as I might love a couple, I
Yeah.
just can't do it professionally.
Well, it's your reputation. You earned it.
Yeah,
Okay,
well,
you earned
and
it.
that, and I know I need to insure myself. I know
Uh-huh.
I need to pay for my rent. I know I need to pay for,
Yeah.
I need to pay for
Beautiful
another professional
studio,
photographer.
The insurance, everything
Yeah,
is so high.
and you mentioned people with with cameras. There are professional cameras, and then there are what we call prosumer cameras. And I would say that greater than 50% of the photographic community now is not operating with a professional camera, what I would consider a professional camera. So,
Wow.
what I pay for a camera is sort of built into, and we don't have just one.
Right,
We
exactly.
have backups of
Yeah.
everything. So, but to that point, so we don't really I want to give people an idea of what the budget is.
Yeah.
I want to give people an idea of kind of what our ranges are.
Yeah.
Because I don't want somebody to come in who absolutely can't afford us, and then they're heartbroken that they can't make that
so
decision.
it's like, oh my God, after you look at
Right. And
your
then,
services, oh wow, you get all excited, and they get disappointed.
At the same time, I tell people if we might be close, maybe we're a little above, and we're really kind of in the high end of the mid range.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I like to be. I don't really. We've had some weddings that are platinum weddings, but I really love that kind of middle space and the kind of people that are in there. And I don't love traveling. I travel a few times a year for weddings. I don't want to travel every weekend because I've got young kids, and so I really like where we are. Thought a lot about it, but if we're close, I'd love for somebody to sit down and at least see the difference because, as you mentioned, being that there are so many photographers out there, it is very difficult to differentiate quality unless you see photography printed.
That's true. So that's why they got to come into a studio.
Well, and there's an actual reason for that, like a technical reason, and that is that when you look at any kind of computer screen, it's there's dots per inch or pixels per inch or whatever, right?
Exactly.
So your average computer screen, even your high def ones, are running around 72 dots per inch.
Yeah, that's all it is. Our
printed products are 300.
Wow.
So that's why it looks so vibrant to you.
Yeah.
And that
Live,
is because. So what happens is on a computer screen, you can make even a really average picture look pretty good.
Yeah.
But once you print it and you see it printed, it's maybe not so good.
And correct me if I'm wrong. When you blow it up, you'll notice
that notice that here in the studio we do that, and I purposely blow up large pictures that might be hard to light. Like you'll see that there's a lot of night pictures taken here because most people. You have to have the right gear to be able to take a picture like that and have it not look pixelated. Yeah. And so we want people to come in here and really, even if they don't book us, they really can't make that step in their budget. Even if they can't book us, at least they're a little bit more well educated. And we've had people who didn't book us, who then drug their friend over to us at a bridal show and said, "I didn't book Carrie, and I've regretted it ever since."
See that?
And so we have a wedding just like that this year.
Yeah.
So we've at least kind of educated them, and for me. At least they take that out into their circles of friends, and we've sort of helped advance, what true professional photographers are really all about.
Wow.
So, and I have a sample of that you handed me.
Yeah,
actually.
thank you. I wanted to get to this here because I wanted to.
So this isn't a
distinguish
wedding
between-
picture.
Okay.
This is a passport picture.
Oh, this is a passport.
Yeah.
So you do that too?
Well, no, I don't. This is actually one of the only times I've ever taken a passport picture.
Oh,
so because
okay.
You have to. Somebody paid for a portrait session with us. But
Yeah.
she called me and she said, I have to have my passport picture for the next 10 years, and I really would like it to be a good one. And I'm in a place where I can afford to not go to CVS, and so would you take my passport picture? So I said, all right, I see it's compelling. Why not? So come on in. Yeah. Lovely lady. And so because it was just a passport picture, I created a JPEG for her that she could take and get printed at CVS, where they print the not to knock CVS printing,
No.
So she came back to me, and she had this to show me.
Okay.
You see that?
Yeah.
So she took it to the CVS kiosk. Can you see that? And she came back to me and she said, "Carrie, my sweater wasn't blue, and my face is really, I look older than I remember. I remember the picture looking better on your computer screen." Oh. And so she said, she asked them to reprint it again and use their better processing. Okay. So they did, this is the 1 hour version of the picture. Do you see it's a little different?
Yeah, I see.
Not a lot?
No.
Okay. Let me turn this way.
I mean, they paid more for that.
Yeah,
and
well,
it's not that much.
Again, we're looking at a 29-cent print, right?
Okay, right.
But this is consumer printing. Yeah. So she brought these into me and she said, I just know I'm willing to pay for a professional print because I want it to look like it's supposed to look. And so I printed it for her, and this is because we've edited the picture for the skin tones to look right, etc. So we printed her passport picture. Do you see that?
So those are different. What a major difference.
Can you see that?
Now this looks a lot more natural, and that looks more like her. Yeah. And not like the wrong color and everything. The skin tone's a major difference.
Yeah. So I asked for this woman's permission to be able to share this with people in my studio because one of the common things that people talk about is, well, I don't need an album, I don't need printing, I'm going to print it myself, etc. And so I understand if I was a bride, and I was not that long ago, but if I would want to have my JPEGs. I would want to have my negatives. I get that. But so our way of kind of preserving that is we really strongly encourage our clients, and I would say 90+% of them do an album with us.
That's what I wanted to ask you. Like when you call, what do you do? You do albums? Do you give them the proofs of all the pictures?
Yep.
What do you like to? I love these albums.
I'll give you.
Thank
you.
I want to get into those too.
So,
if you want, let's talk about the albums if we can.
Yeah, absolutely.
So when
what
you
do they get?
Yeah.
They get online viewing.
Okay.
Always. We also, most of our couples also get a proofing album. This is why I say most, because we talked about pricing.
Right.
And we have a standard pricing list, but there are ways where we're able to sort of be creative and maybe take things out in order to meet a budget.
A la carte then. Say if they can't afford it, they should have this.
And occasionally the proof album is something that somebody takes out because they're going to do a final album with us, and the proof album is the same pictures that are online, and they'll ultimately have their high-res pictures.
That's true.
So, but most of our couples have a proofing album too. I like it because you go to work and you want to show your pictures, and you're going to put somebody at a computer and they're just going to hit the button. Yeah. Versus, or you go to Thanksgiving dinner and you want to sit down with your family and share your wedding pictures, and you pass the laptop around to grandma, or you pass a nice book around.
I know.
Yeah, so
a book is.
So most people have a proofing album with us as
well. Grandma,
but
I don't think it. Well, maybe some grandmas are techie, but even how do you turn this?
Yeah, no. Well, but and it's just easier for them to see. They can, it's a different experience. Photographs. Yeah. Photographs are, meant to be printed. That's what they've always been.
I know.
So.
And then something like a book.
Yeah.
You could have that right on the table, the coffee table, on the shelf on the side, standing up, and
Well.
Computer, you get lost.
They get lost.
Yeah, they do.
And I'm probably I should say ashamed to say this, that there are pictures from my kids growing up that never made it to print, and I probably have to go back and try to find out exactly where they are, and I will do that when they're older and have more time.
Of course.
But unlike a lot of people, I have my stuff backed up in 4 different places. We've never, knock on wood, I don't know, the legs maybe, we've never lost a picture.
Okay.
So we are backed off offshore. My camera has 2 card slots. When I take a picture, I automatically have 2.
Wow.
We actually back up at the wedding. I don't meet my friends afterwards for a cocktail. I come home, I back up my stuff, and then we go out. We don't.
Strictly business.
Yeah.
We take it serious.
Yeah. We have backup here on our server, plus we have backup offshore. It's funny because back when we were filmed, there was 1 copy of these pictures, and we mailed them.
Yeah.
We put them in the mail.
You actually mailed the pictures?
Yeah, we mailed them to the lab. And then the lab would develop them, and then we put the proof albums together. We had a lot more free time.
Wow.
But now that we can back up, it's our responsibility as professionals to do that.
It's so risky, though. Can you imagine back in the day?
Yeah.
What if the film was bad, or someone opened it up, or the camera?
Well, the professional, that didn't. The labs are very, very professional about that. That wouldn't happen at the labs. You can't say nothing ever would never happen. You can't be absolute about it, but I think it's very rare. But my thing is, you put it in the mail.
Yeah.
1 copy. By the time I'm back from somebody's wedding, I have 3 copies of their pictures.
You see, you're like me. That shows too. Like when I'm DJing, let's say like the first dance, the introduction, all those there. I have backups.
Oh yeah.
Backups. If anything ever went, I got a couple computers. I have it on, the CDs.
Oh yeah.
I'm ready. If anything happens, my system is down. Within 20 seconds,
You're back.
I'll back alive, because I'll go directly into the speakers.
I also think that's one of the unique things too about being somebody who owns their own business too. Versus some companies that have lots of they offer lots of services, and in your case like a DJ where they deliver the system.
You can't do everything. I don't care how good you think you are.
But you don't have the same ownership as far as having multiple backups, having it's not on. It really ultimately doesn't fall down on you in the way that it does when you are DJ Paulie or Carrie Draghi Photography.
Exactly.
So we take that very, very seriously.
Point. And you have to think like that. I think you really do, because your reputation these days is everything.
Yeah.
Especially with reviews and everything. On things. Between all these different magazines.
Yeah.
The reviews and stuff like that.
Yep.
People are right away to say something negative.
Well, and that might also have something to do with the fact that the longevity of a wedding photographer is a lot shorter. people don't really realize how when the people go in. It sounds like a great job. I'll work for 8 hours.
Oh,
and
it's
make
easy.
money.
I
It's
got
so easy.
that. I get it.
Right, and
Yeah.
then there's all of this stuff that gets done on the back end. I tell couples, again, back to the long-term relationship.
Yeah.
I spend more time looking at your faces after your wedding day than I did on your wedding day.
That's
It's
true.
a bigger job.
Yeah.
You know, so so to that point, people don't realize how much it actually takes to how much time
Yeah.
it takes to do a wedding, and so they're not delivering pictures on time, and so they're going to end up getting negative reviews, and so very quickly they're not going to get business, and so I think that might in some ways contribute to the shorter lifespan of a wedding photographer these days.
One thing you were talking, and I picked up on too, you're talking about, well, like the lighting and stuff, the various lighting. So when you're doing your photography at a wedding or an event, you get the lighting right in the beginning, right?
Oh, I hate editing.
Yeah, because that's what takes so long.
Yeah.
Right, and try to edit, and I think it looks more natural if
Yeah.
you get it in the front, right?
If I
you see
can't
this-
show, I like to sort of like when we're working with a couple,
Yeah.
even during an engagement session or even family shoot, whatever. When
Sure.
you work with people, I kind of like to give them some peeks in the back of the camera along the way,
Mhm.
and it sort of helps to build the credibility and the trust
Sure.
along the way. To wow, that looks amazing, because sometimes, they're looking at what they see, and it doesn't look at all like how it's going to come out in my camera with my settings, with my light, with my whatever.
That's true.
So
That's true.
so I'll show them, and then, oh my goodness, looks amazing. Now, if I can't do that, if what I take in the back of the camera doesn't look like what the pictures are going to look like, I've had to spend a lot of time editing. When you edit a picture, you destroy the integrity of it.
Yeah.
That's when you get lots of pixelation, lots of things like that. So absolutely, from my perspective, it is such a time saver for me to get it right. But it
Mhm.
takes a lot of knowledge and a lot of gear
Mhm.
and a lot of things to be able to get a picture right in camera. And given that I'm a studio photographer, I'm a trained photographer. We have remote control flashes that we use, and it sounds like we're so gear heavy, but we're quick and everything's very
Oh, yeah.
mobile.
And
We
they
take
appreciate
stuff out
it.
onto the rocks. We
Mhm.
take stuff out you can get a good picture with an average camera and an average photographer if you happen to have if your day happens to fall on a really lovely soft
Mhm.
clouded day, and there's no weather to deal with, and the sun sets right on time when you expect it to be.
How often
and
does that happen? For
not very
everything,
often.
the
And you know what,
time of the
frankly,
day.
when on those days,
Mm.
I think the lighting is very boring.
Mm.
And you get people with dark eye
Yeah.
dark eye sockets
Okay.
and things like that.
Right,
So
right, right.
we
Yeah.
still add light to those.
You
We
still-
do it very quickly.
Right.
And we have fun when we're doing it, and but there's still certain things that you still want to do
Yeah.
to make the pictures
Even more natural,
Yeah.
more nice and stuff. I think when a picture is beautiful, looks nice and
Mhm.
stuff. But when you don't do that stuff, I guess you see that too, the darkness, like you were talking about the eyes and stuff. So if
Yeah.
you do it right in the beginning, they just may say, "That's a beautiful picture." I don't know exactly what, how she did it or whatever, but just looks gorgeous.
Well, I always tell people if they wanted to, like, I like a picture,
Yeah.
and they can't quite figure out what it is they like about a picture. It's typically one of two things:
Mm-hmm.
the composition
Mm-hmm.
or the lighting. Those are the two things
Makes it
that
stand out.
make a picture stand out.
Okay.
So, and then, as far as if it's a picture of yourself, what also matters is how you look. And there's a lot of skill that goes into working with different body types, different
Mhm.
facial structures, knowing whether to turn someone's face towards the light or away from the light to be
Wow.
able to light them better, to make every bride wants to look beautiful. And there's certain faces that you can't turn certain directions where the light is. You can, but
Mhm.
you can make someone look so much better if you
Yeah.
photograph them, the short lighting, broad lighting, things that you only will get with a true professional photographer.
Yeah.
Where we, sometimes look at a picture and I'll go, that's a nice picture. We could have made her look so much, we could have really,
Mm-hmm.
really,
Yeah.
blown their mind with,
Something
because we
else.
want to, when they look at the pictures, we want them to be like floored.
Be in awe. You want them to say, "Oh my
they
God."
look the most beautiful
Yeah.
they've ever looked.